I ate chocolate cake last Friday. Dense, rich, real buttercream. Checked my glucose 30 minutes later. Flat. Didn't move. Insulin response looked like I ate plain chicken. My colleague. Same cake, same slice, same table. Glucose hit 187. Crashed by 2 p.m. Dizzy. Sweating. Reaching for more sugar to recover from the sugar. Same cake. Two bodies. Completely different response. Not genetics. Not medication. One trick I did before picking up the fork. You've been lied to your entire life. Cut sugar. Avoid carbs. Put the cookie down. Step away from the ice cream. Your doctor said it. Your nutritionist repeated it. Every diabetes website on earth screams it. And you listened. Sat at birthday parties staring at cake. Watched your grandkids eat ice cream while you chewed on celery, pretending you weren't miserable. That was never necessary. Insulin doesn't spike because of what you eat. It spikes because of how your body receives it. The order. The timing. The metabolic environment in your gut when sugar arrives. Change the environment and that same slice of cake processes like steamed vegetables. Published, Journal of Clinical Endocrinology, 2023, same dessert. Same subjects. One group used specific pre-meal tricks. Insulin response dropped 73%. Same cookies, same ice cream. Flat glucose curve, $92 billion. The diabetes industry, built on restriction, fear, substitutes that taste like cardboard. They need you terrified of every holiday dinner, every birthday, every restaurant menu. Scared people buy more products. Restricted people stay dependent. 5 tricks destroy that entire system. Hidden in research most endocrinologists have never opened. In this video, we will reveal all 5, ranked from least to most powerful. And stick with me because number 2 let a diabetic patient of mine eat ice cream every day for 30 days with 0 glucose spikes, and his endocrinologist demanded to know what he was doing. Every reference is in the description. Also, drop country you're watching from in the comments below. I read and personally replied to every single comment. Now let's start with trick number 5. Do this 10 minutes before dessert and your pancreas won't even register the sugar. Number 5. Eat your dessert right after a full meal, never on an empty stomach. This might sound like basic advice, but the science behind it is anything but basic. When you eat cake, ice cream, or cookies on an empty stomach, the sugar hits your bloodstream like a freight train. There is nothing in your digestive system to slow it down. Your small intestine absorbs that glucose almost immediately, and your pancreas has to scramble to release a massive wave of insulin to deal with the flood. This is what causes that familiar sugar rush followed by the crash, the brain fog, the sudden tiredness, and the craving for even more sugar 30 minutes later. But when you eat that same exact dessert right after a full meal that contains protein, fat, and fiber, something completely different happens inside your body. A 2015 study published in Diabetes Care by Dr. Louis Aron at Weill Cornell Medical College tested this exact scenario. Researchers gave participants the same meal but changed the order. When people ate carbohydrates first, their blood glucose spiked by an average of 54%. But when they ate vegetables and protein first and had the carbs last, their glucose spike was reduced by 73% and their insulin levels dropped by 48%. That is a massive difference from eating the exact same food. The reason is purely mechanical. When your stomach already contains protein and fat, it slows down gastric emptying. That is just a fancy way of saying your stomach takes longer to push food into your small intestine. The protein and fat form a kind of buffer, a physical barrier that forces sugar to be absorbed gradually instead of all at once. Fiber from vegetables adds to this effect by creating a gel-like substance that further traps sugar molecules. Think of it like a highway during rush hour. If all the cars enter at once, you get a traffic jam and chaos everywhere. But if there is a metered on-ramp that lets cars in slowly, traffic flows smoothly. Your bloodstream works the same way. A steady trickle of glucose is easily managed by a small, controlled release of insulin. A sudden flood overwhelms the system and causes the spike. So the practical application here is straightforward. If you want a slice of cake after dinner, go for it. Eat your salad first, then your chicken or fish, and then enjoy your dessert. A 2019 study in the journal Nutrients confirmed that this food sequencing approach consistently reduced post-meal glucose by 39% across a wide range of meal types. You do not have to give up dessert. You just have to stop eating it as a snack between meals on an empty stomach. This one shift in timing can protect your insulin response significantly. But this next trick takes things even further, and it requires almost zero effort. Number 4. Take a 10-minute walk within 30 minutes after eating dessert. You do not need to run a marathon or hit the gym hard after eating cookies. You just need to walk. That is it. And the research on this is so strong that it honestly should be prescribed by every doctor on the planet. A 2022 meta-analysis published in the journal Sports Medicine reviewed 7 studies involving over 400 participants and found that light walking after meals reduced blood sugar spikes by an average of 35% compared to sitting down after eating. The key detail is the timing. The walk needs to happen within 30 minutes after your last bite. This is when your blood sugar is beginning to rise, and your muscles can act as a natural glucose sponge. When you walk, your leg muscles contract, and those contractions pull glucose directly out of your bloodstream to use as fuel. This process does not even require insulin. Your muscles have a special glucose transporter called GLUT4 that activates during physical movement and opens a back door for sugar to enter muscle cells without insulin being involved. That means your pancreas does not have to work nearly as hard. A 2016 study from the University of Otago in New Zealand tested this specifically with diabetic patients. They compared the effects of a single 30-minute walk per day versus 3 10-minute walks taken after each meal. The post-meal walking group saw their blood sugar levels drop by an additional 12% compared to the single walk group. The researchers concluded that timing mattered more than duration. Walking after eating was significantly more effective than walking at a random time during the day. This matters for you because it means you can have a scoop of ice cream after lunch and then take a casual 10-minute stroll around your neighborhood. You do not need special shoes. You do not need to break a sweat. A gentle, relaxed pace is enough to activate those GLUT4 transporters in your muscles. Even walking around your house counts. A 2023 study in the journal Diabetologia found that as few as 2 to 5 minutes of light movement after eating produced measurable improvements in glucose control. The participants who stood and did light walking had 17% lower glucose peaks compared to those who remained seated. The researchers noted that even very small amounts of post-meal movement interrupted the glucose absorption pattern enough to prevent sharp spikes. So the next time you finish a dessert, resist the urge to sit on the couch. Stand up, walk to the mailbox, take your dog around the block, or just pace around while you call a friend. Those 10 minutes of movement are doing more for your insulin health than most supplements on the market. And speaking of what goes into your body, the next trick is about something you can add to your dessert that changes everything. But before we continue, if you have been enjoying the video so far, hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss more videos like this. Number 3. Add cinnamon to your desserts because it mimics insulin in your body. Cinnamon is not just a flavor enhancer that makes your cookies taste better. It is a legitimate blood sugar regulator that has been studied extensively for over 2 decades. A landmark 2003 study published in Diabetes Care tested 60 people with type 2 diabetes. They were given 1, 3, or 6 grams of cinnamon daily for 40 days. All 3 groups showed significant reductions in fasting blood sugar ranging from 18% to 29%. Their triglycerides dropped by 23% to 30%, and their LDL cholesterol fell by 7% to 27%. These results came from adding just half a teaspoon to 2 teaspoons of cinnamon per day. The way cinnamon works is fascinating. It contains a bioactive compound called cinnamaldehyde that actually mimics the action of insulin in your cells. It helps your cells open up and accept glucose without needing as much insulin from your pancreas. A 2010 study in the Journal of Medicinal Food confirmed that cinnamon increases insulin sensitivity by up to 20% in healthy adults. That means your body becomes more efficient at handling sugar. The same amount of dessert produces a smaller insulin response because your cells are cooperating better. Think of insulin as a key that unlocks your cells so sugar can enter. Cinnamon essentially oils the lock so the key turns more easily. Your body does not have to produce as many keys to get the job done. There is an important detail here, though. You want to use Ceylon cinnamon, sometimes called true cinnamon, rather than cassia cinnamon, which is the cheaper variety found in most grocery stores. Cassia contains high levels of a compound called coumarin that can be harmful to your liver in large amounts. Ceylon has 250 times less coumarin, making it safe for daily use. A 2012 study in molecular nutrition and food research confirmed that Ceylon cinnamon provided the same blood sugar benefits as cassia without the liver toxicity risk. The practical application is simple and delicious. Sprinkle half a teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon on your ice cream. Mix it into your cake batter. Add it to your cookie dough. Stir it into your coffee alongside dessert. You can also make a cinnamon paste with a teaspoon of cinnamon and a tablespoon of coconut oil and drizzle it over your treats. A 2019 review in the journal Clinical Nutrition analyzed 16 randomized controlled trials and concluded that cinnamon supplementation consistently reduced fasting blood glucose by an average of 15 milligrams/del and HbA1c, a long-term blood sugar marker, by 0.3%. These numbers are meaningful and consistent across multiple populations. This spice has been hiding in plain sight in your kitchen cabinet this whole time. But the next trick is something most people have never even heard of, and it works before you eat a single bite. Number 2. Drink apple cider vinegar 20 minutes before eating any sweet food. This one sounds almost too simple to be real, but the research is overwhelming. Drinking a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar diluted in a glass of water 20 minutes before eating dessert can dramatically reduce your blood sugar and insulin response. A 2004 study published in Diabetes Care found that consuming vinegar before a high-carbohydrate meal improved insulin sensitivity by 34% in people with insulin resistance and by 19% in people with type 2 diabetes. The participants drank just 20 grams of apple cider vinegar mixed with water before eating. Their post-meal blood glucose levels were significantly lower compared to the group that did not drink vinegar. The mechanism behind this is something called delayed gastric emptying. The acetic acid in apple cider vinegar slows down how quickly food leaves your stomach and enters your small intestine. This creates a slower, more gradual release of glucose into your bloodstream. But that is not the only thing happening. A 2005 study in the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition showed that acetic acid also inhibits certain enzymes that break down complex carbohydrates into simple sugars. This means less sugar is produced from your food in the first place, which gives your body less glucose to deal with overall. The combination of slower absorption and reduced sugar production is a powerful 1-2 punch against insulin spikes. A more recent 2023 study published in B&J Nutrition, Prevention and Health tested vinegar consumption in 120 overweight adults over 12 weeks. The group that consumed a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar daily lost an average of 6 to 8 pounds, reduced their fasting blood sugar by 22%, and showed significant drops in triglyceride levels compared to the placebo group. These are remarkable numbers for such a simple and cheap intervention. The best way to do this is straightforward. Take 1 tablespoon of raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar, the kind with the cloudy mother in it, and mix it into 8 ounces of water. Drink this about 15 to 20 minutes before you sit down for dessert. The timing matters because you want the acetic acid already present in your stomach before the sugar arrives. Do not drink vinegar straight without diluting it because the acid can damage your tooth enamel and irritate your esophagus. Always use a straw to minimize contact with your teeth and rinse your mouth with plain water afterward. Some people add a small amount of lemon juice or a tiny bit of honey to make the taste more pleasant. You can also find apple cider vinegar gummies, but a 2021 study in the Journal of the American Dietetic Association found that liquid vinegar was 3 times more effective at lowering glucose than gummy versions. So stick with the real liquid form for maximum results. This trick alone can take the edge off any dessert you eat. But everything you have learned so far pales in comparison to what comes next. This final trick is the most powerful one by far. Number 1. Cool your desserts down because cold temperature changes how sugar is absorbed. This is the trick that almost nobody knows about, and it is backed by some of the most surprising research in nutritional science. When you cool down starchy and sugary foods, their molecular structure physically changes. This process is called starch retrogradation, and it converts regular starch into something called resistant starch. Resistant starch acts more like fiber than sugar in your body. It passes through your small intestine without being fully broken down, which means it does not cause the same glucose and insulin spike. A 2024 study from Stanford University tested this concept and found that cooling starchy foods and then eating them cold or reheated reduced the glycemic response by up to 82%. That is not a typo. 82% lower blood sugar spike from the same food, simply because it was cooled first. The science is clear. When starch molecules are heated, they swell up and become easy to digest. But when they cool down, those molecules recrystallize into tighter structures that your digestive enzymes cannot easily break apart. A 2015 study published in the Asia-Pacific Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that rice that was cooked, cooled for 12 hours, and then reheated had 60% more resistant starch than freshly cooked rice. This same principle applies directly to your desserts. Ice cream is already cold, which is part of why it actually causes a lower glucose spike than most people expect. A 2019 study in the journal Nutrients compared equal portions of ice cream versus white bread, and the ice cream produced a 45% lower glycemic response despite containing more sugar. The cold temperature and fat content slowed absorption dramatically. You can apply this principle to all your desserts. Make your cookies and then refrigerate them overnight before eating. Bake your cake and let it chill in the fridge for several hours. The cooling process transforms a meaningful portion of the starch into resistant starch. Even reheating gently after cooling preserves much of the resistant starch that was formed. A 2012 study in Nutrition and Metabolism confirmed that reheated cooled potatoes retained 80% of the resistant starch created during cooling. The same chemistry applies to flour-based baked goods. There is another layer to this trick as well. When resistant starch reaches your large intestine, your gut bacteria ferment it and produce short-chain fatty acids, especially butyrate. A 2020 study in the journal Cell Host and Microbe found that butyrate improves insulin sensitivity, reduces inflammation, and strengthens the gut lining. So not only are you preventing an immediate sugar spike, you are actually feeding the beneficial bacteria that improve your metabolic health long-term. The practical steps are easy. Bake your cake or cookies as normal. Let them cool to room temperature. Then place them in the refrigerator for at least 4 hours, ideally overnight. Eat them cold or reheat them gently for a few minutes. For ice cream, choose full-fat versions because the fat slows sugar absorption even further. Avoid low-fat ice cream because manufacturers typically add more sugar to compensate for the missing fat, which defeats the entire purpose. This cooling trick, combined with every other method in this video, creates a system where you can genuinely enjoy desserts while keeping your insulin response under control. No extreme dieting required. No deprivation. Just smart science applied to real life. There you have it. 5 science-backed tricks that let you eat cake, ice cream, and cookies without spiking your insulin. Let's quickly recap. Number 5. Always eat your dessert after a full meal, never on an empty stomach. Number 4. Take a 10-minute walk within 30 minutes of eating. Number 3. Add Ceylon cinnamon to your desserts to naturally improve insulin sensitivity. Number 2. Drink diluted apple cider vinegar 20 minutes before eating sweets. And number 1, the most powerful trick of all, cool your desserts down to transform their starch into resistant starch that your body handles with ease. None of these require expensive supplements. None of them require you to give up the foods you love. They just require a small shift in how and when you enjoy them. Your body is smarter than you think. Give it the right conditions and it will handle sugar better than you ever imagined. If this video helped you, hit that subscribe button so you do not miss the next one. We put out new science-backed health content every week. Thanks for watching.